Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well. So what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to set up our database migrations for our comments. We're going to set up our comment model, and we're going to create two trades basically for our comment model. Right, so let's start off with the first one, our database migration. Let's go there. So database migrations and our comments migration, this one right here. Right, so there's a couple of things we need to do. We need to add the parent ID, so table dot foreign ID, and we're going to do that for the parent ID. Okay, so parent ID. All right, and we want to make the field nullable. All right, so if it's null, we know that it's basically the root comment. All right, so let me just make it comments, and we're going to constrain it basically to the same schema. All right, when I refer to root, I mean root like this and not root like this. Okay, I'm referring to the root comment. Right, let's underneath this, what we're going to do is we're going to add a table for the integer. All right, and this will be the depth. All right, so we're going to work with depths from 0 till whatever level you want it to be, so level 4, 5, or whatever. All right, obviously we count from in programming from 0, so 0 is level 1, level 2, 1 is level 2, and etc. etc. Okay, so that's basically our migrations all set up. Right, just make sure you've got the ID field, the body, the morphs table basically for the commentable. So what this will do is we'll create two tables for us. In there, it will create one for the first one will be the type, and the second one will be the ID. Okay, like this. Right, so I don't need to do that. Okay, so that's all done. So let's quickly go and set up our comment model. So let me just close that off. So open our comment model. All right, in here, the fillable fields we need to add is the parent ID, and the other one is the depth, like this. Okay, so let's go down. Now, the thing is, what I want to do now is I want to create basically a trade. I want to cut out all of this and put it inside a trade. Okay, so let's just quickly go there under trades. Let's create a new file, and we're going to call this one HasCommentable.php. Okay, this one right here, and we're just going to have a PHP tag and namespace. All right, and we're going to do app trades. This one right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a trade, and we're going to call this one. All right, we're going to call this one HasCommentable. Let me just actually go there. HasCommentable, like this. All right, so let's go to our comment model. As you can see, the commentable relations, the commentable, and the two right here. Just cut out all three. Okay, and then we're just going to paste them in here. Now, for anyone that's new that haven't seen this being created, so I just want to explain that to you. So basically what we're going to do, you probably have only these two right here. So the commentable with the morph to the relationship. Just make sure you add the type in first and then the ID second, of like third in this column in this case. So just add the type, because the data migration will add the type first and then the ID. Okay. So just the commentable like this, the interface, just make sure we import this at the top as well. As you can see, we brought that in right there. Now, the thing is, when we do a to, we're creating this. Now, what will happen is when we reference this, this is basically this comment is reference to this commentable. Then what we will do is they will associate this comment relation to that commentable. So if it's a post, it will be associated to a post. If it's an article or whatever the case may be, just make sure you have this in there as well. Right, so the next thing that we're going to do is let's go up, and we're going to bring that in. So use HasCommentable, like this. Okay, let's put that in. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do create a replies one. So let's go to that trades. Under trades, we're going to create a new one, HasReplies, right there. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing, PHP and namespace. Right, so then we have a HasReplies, And now the thing is, what we're going to do is we need to remember a post has many comments and a comments has many replies. Okay, that's the kind of relationship we want to set up. Right, so let's quickly start off with the replies. So public function, this one is just going to be replies. Okay, and then we're going to do is return this replies relation. Okay, like that. All right, so let's quickly create that replies relation. So public function replies relation. All right, and this is going to be a has many relationship. All right, because a comment have many replies. Okay, so that's the kind of relationship we're going to set up, and then we're just going to return this as many. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a self class, because the self class will basically be the comment class right there. And then we're just going to add as reference the parent ID like this. Okay, so let's just bring another one down, and we're going to create another public function. This one is going to be the depth. Okay, the depth of the replies. Okay, so we're going to return this depth. Okay, not the method, the property, and we're going to check if that is less, greater than, or equal to the config file that we're going to create. Inside there, the settings. Okay, dot comments. Okay, we haven't created it yet. Dot max. All right, and then we just want to subtract 1. The reason for that is because we're going to basically just remember the depth count from 0 to 1. So if we at level, when we save it in a database, we basically save it as level 0, 1, 2, 3. And in the config settings, if it's level 3, then we just mean a depth 2. Okay, so that's why I'm just subtracting 1 from there. Okay, let's quickly set this up. So in our environment file, let's go there. In our environment file, right here, let's go up, and actually in here, what we're going to do is we can just add comments, and we can just do max level comments like this, and we can set it to whatever amount we want. So in my case, let's just set it to 3. Okay, so let's go to our config file under settings. All right, as you can see, we got comments max, and we're just going to do environment file, and we're just going to go to max level comments like this, but I need to put that in a string like this. Okay, just make sure you add it like that. Right, so now we got something to reference right there. So remember, depth of 0 is level 1. So, okay, so that's kind of, we had to subtract the 1 so that that this depth and this can be equal. Okay, so when we compare the two, then we can compare apples with apples. All right, depth right there. Now think in the comments right here, in the comment model, what we're going to do is we're going to say use as replies, like this. Okay, so now we got our depth all set up. Next thing we need to, in our comment model, we need to add our replies relation right here, so that we can eager load that relationship. Right, so just this replies relation, just refer to this replies relation, this one right here. We just want to eager load that relationship, otherwise we're going to have an n+1 problem. Right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to create a public function, and this one will be the parent ID. Okay, and we're going to make this an option, a string actually, and we're just going to return this parent ID. Okay. All right, so that brings us to an end of this episode. If you guys have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, please leave it for me in the comment section. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you don't, please give it a dislike. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And Calvin out. Adios.